Hello there, and welcome to another video. Today's tutorial is going to be talking about how you can use a function called fncCheckCreateTables in your apps to build your data tables after you've initially designed and built them. This function is a necessary component when you're trying to have an app which can be moved to other organizations, not just your own organization. For example, if you want to sell your app to another Appward organization, you can do that, or you can just post it and give it away. In those cases, obviously, when you launch your app, any of the tables that need to be created need to be handled by the app itself and not be a manual function where the user is required to build those tables. So this tutorial kind of talks about how to do that. So let's get to it. So here's my workspace. I'm going to start with building a quick database table, just as an example. So let's go into my database manager here, and I'm going to check for I'm going to make an app that tracks videos, maybe video production, that type of thing. So there is no table like that, so let's build it ourselves. So we come over to table name. We're going to add a videos object, or name on the table name. We're going to add that table. It suggests a primary key called video ID, which is correct. I'm going to accept that. And then let's go down and start adding some of the columns. I'm going to add a variable character with 100 length, allow nulls for it, called title. I'm also going to add, I'm going to have a video type too. So I'm going to use the internal types table, and I'm going to create a foreign key here for that, and that's an integer. And so we're going to add type ID. I probably also want to track a status of the video. Maybe it's in production, maybe it's in review. So I'm going to use the internal status table to govern that, so I don't have to make another table for that. And of course, we want the author who's making the video. That's also going to be an integer because I'm going to link that to the contacts table that is part of Appward's standard library of tables. So we've got author ID, and what else? What else do we? Oh, probably duration. Let's see how long that video is. We'll make that a probably varchar. Let's allow them to type in something that's about 10 characters long. That way it's so we're going to do that. And what else for a video? Maybe a description. I don't know. Descriptions are usually variable max, giving people enough time to put whatever they want for the description. So here I've created this database table. It exists in my organization, and I'm currently running in the Appward org. It's empty, but the structure's there, and this is called the schema. So normally now, if I create an app, let's say I want to make an app from scratch. So I'm going to come into my development tray. I come down here, and let's delete this old one. We don't need that. And let's say I'm just going to add an app and give it a name of app videos. Okay, and we'll call this videos. Again, description, I can give it a description. Caption in the thing is, I'm going to call that videos, okay. And let's just update that guy. And okay, so here I've got this app, and as with most initial apps, if I were to enter it, it comes up as a pop-up. And I can kind of come here and tailor this a little bit. So let's, now this app really has no database associated with it yet, so I'm going to make that caption, call that videos. Okay. And normally you would add a pane, you would add a bunch of stuff, you would add some CRUD stuff, which is like the changing, updating, adding, deletion, all that capability. But in our case, we would also want to add under that screen a data table that's going to open the specific app, and we would normally call that, we'd add two data tables. One that's called videos edit. It's a data table from the object classes up here, and the other one is going to be called videos view. Okay, and obviously the video edit. If I put a query in here, the baseline query would say select everything from videos. Okay, Now there are no records, but I can discover that table and have it populate the children. And here we have all our children that we built. So this app right now, I could build this, continue to build this app and run it, and it'll work just fine in my org because my org now has that table. However, what if we want to move that app to another organization, another company, for example? Well, they don't have all those tables. So one of the first things which happens is when this app begins, when it starts out, basically the pop main calls fncInitialize, which is an initialization function. You'll see that right here before show. You see a call to fncInitialize, and that's already been built for you. So we can come over to fncInitialize, and you'll see here there's a fncInitialize, and it's probably empty. It doesn't really do anything at this point. Kind of sets the screen's centering, but one thing we do want to do here is build the data tables. Okay, now how do you do that? Well, you could do a lot of coding to build those tables using the database control object, but there is an easier way. We're gonna call a function, and I'm gonna add that first. I'm gonna create a function called. So I'm just gonna call this function fncCheckCreateTables. Okay. Now you're gonna find this in all the Appward apps, and basically this function is there to create the tables that are needed for the app. If there's one, then there'll be one creation. If there's multiple tables, you will put them in here. Okay, and that would normally be called from the fncInitialize. So I can come back to my fncInitialize, and then right here, because right here I would want to include my .functions, which is the functions for the app. And then down here I would just say fncCheckCreateTable right there. You can see that's part of the functions that are sitting here. Okay, so that will call fncCheckCreateTable when I start the app. And what do I want in fncCheckCreateTable? Well, what I really want is the database schema. So here's how we do that. We go back to our database, and I'm gonna close this app for now. Go back to that videos database table that we created, and let's go ahead and bring up videos. And there's the schema. Just right-click on this and tell it to make the script, and it'll write the script for you that needs to go in that fncCheckCreateTable. You just have to copy this and then paste it into that fncCheckCreateTable. Okay, and so here if I come in and load that in there, this thing will basically take that database control object, get the schema dates, check the schema dates, and what this is useful for is once it gets built, if you were to modify it for later revisions, it will automatically this function called fncSetTable, which operates over in the database functions, user resource shared functions, that will always ensure that your table is up to date every time you launch the app. Okay. Now, how do we know this is working? I can just close this, and I've already closed my app. Then let's just go ahead and delete this table here. Okay, completely from the database. We don't even have to back it up because we don't have anything in there right now. I can delete this guy. Press delete. Delete table videos, yes. Okay, so boom, it's gone. There's no more video table, but my app should be able to run that or to build that. So let's go back to our app videos. We're going to run it. We're going to enter. Okay, and it should pop up. Okay, it took a little bit longer to pop up this time, and why? Because it was doing a bunch of crunching, and sure enough, we should be able to come to our development, go to our database, type in videos, and there it is. Okay, so that's the way that you do that. Now, let's say that I were to add another table, a secondary table to this, and I wanted both of them to be built. Well, normally, let's say videos, I'm also interested in tracks per video, a separate table that's going to take a look at tracks. Okay, so I'm going to create another table. The Appward method is the primary table is the name, and then you underscore with the secondary tables. So I'm going to create that, and the ID on this one, I'm going to make that track ID. Okay, that's the primary key. And maybe the track has a duration. Maybe this has a title too. Okay, so it's kind of similar. We can build our own title varchar, let's say 100 on this one too, because we're titling the tracks now. And maybe it's a sort index. We want to be able to sort the tracks, so we're going to go to sort index, make that an integer. Okay, and then add that one. Okay, so here's a small table. And we need a foreign key pointing back to the video ID. So let's add video ID here, which is the foreign key allowing it to be linked. Now guess what? That one needs to be built too. So I'm going to right click on this, make script. In this case, I'm just going to grab this part because we already have this initialized part in the original script. So for all secondary ones, I could just copy that portion, come back in, okay, and then go to fncCheckCreateTable of my app, open this guy, and then add that to the end here. Okay, so you know it's a fair amount of code. It's basically using an array, taking in all the different properties of that table, passing that array to set table. This function goes off and builds all those tables. But there you go. No real coding involved, just a lot of copy pasting, and we end up with a good 20 or 30 lines of code here. Okay, and that is a wrap. That is how you use fncCheckCreateTables to build tables for your app. And again, this is only used for when you plan on using your app in another organization. And for the most part, at Appward, we always add fncCheckCreateTables because we're operating not only the Appward business, but our sister company, ASC, which is a manufacturing company. We share apps all the time. So if ASC builds apps, they're going to use fncCheckCreateTables because maybe Appward needs them. And if Appward's making apps, they're going to push them the other way. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and hopefully it's not too confusing, and it'll help you build tables for your app. As always, visit our website, appward.com, or our YouTube page to see other development videos. And as always, code well and enjoy your day. Thanks for coming. Bye.